Captain Chris Meyer, Central Florida Sight Fishing Charters. I'd like to talk to you today about a proper technique for reeling in a fish once you have the hook set. So first thing you do is set the hook. You can check out my video on that. Once you have that happen, then we need to use proper techniques to avoid wrapping our tip, to avoid losing the fish and not letting him come off the hook. And the key to that is keeping tension between your reel and that fish at all times, which means the rod is bent as long as you're not pointing it at him. If you're pointing the rod directly at the fish, it wouldn't be bent. And if the fish is big enough and he's pulling drag off my reel, I'm pointing the rod directly at them, so he's just pulling the line off. The second that stops happening, I want to keep a bend in this rod. And the bend in the rod makes sure I have pressure on that hook, which keeps it from dislodging. Now, how am I going to retrieve this? I'm always trying to keep a bend in the rod as I do so. So I'm going to pull up, and as I reel as I go down, but I'm reeling just enough to keep that rod always bent. So we pull up, reel as we go down. We pull up, reel as we go down. Pull up, reel as we go down. We don't need to get straight up and down like this. Once you get about 3/4, 45-degree angle, that's fine. If you have a really big fish, you can fight them down to the side. Keep tension down and low to the side. Whichever way the fish is going, you should be pulling the opposite direction. Otherwise, you're only helping pull them forward, and you're certainly not tiring them out as quickly. So if the fish is going to my left, I'll pull right. They're not going to like that. They're going to turn around and swim, which is easier, towards the way I'm pulling. The second they do that, I want to switch sides. And you're constantly switching sides throughout the battle with a bigger fish, because they're always going to try to go the path of least resistance. You're trying to give them the most resistance, so you're constantly switching sides. If I'm doing this without keeping my tip bent, so if I switch sides and I lift my rod up and straighten my rod out, there's a good chance that that line wraps around my tip. The second that happens, the fish pulls tight. You're probably going to break either your tip of your rod, your line, your leader. Something's going to break because you no longer have your drag to assist you. So that's why it's so important that when we're lifting up on these fish, so we lift up, that we don't drop the rod and then turn. You want to turn as I go down. But I'm not using this reel as a winch. I do not want to hold here and just crank on the fish. Then the line goes on so tight that it wants to dig down inside itself and it doesn't flow off the spool freely. And it's a heck of a lot of work that we don't need for the reel and for us. We want to use the rod to fight the fish and not the reel to fight the fish. So the handle will always be easy to turn. So that's the kind of rhythm we want to get in when we're fighting fish that are pulling off drag. You know, some fish are small enough they come right in. When we're fighting a bigger fish, always keep a bend in that rod. Never let it wrap around your tip. Use the rod to fight the fish and not the reel.